Welcome to Bear Lifestyle, the podcast where we speak up and speak out about all taboo topics and make them normal and acceptable.
You are invited to be curious, to try something new, and stay open to provocative perspectives.
I'm Simona Spark, a best-selling author, international speaker, transformational coach, and so many other things. Beyond anything else, I'm a woman who stopped following other people's rules and started creating my own.
I'm Carolyn Marcos, a life coach on a mission to break the labels and expectations that others place on us. I am a woman who used to hate her own body until I dared to become the sexy goddess I am today.
In this space, we are going to get naked by stripping away insecurities, self-judgments, and all kinds of limitations, and reach in for the essence of who we really are, Bear.
Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving. Let's begin. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day
Happy Mother's Day. Cheers.
to me, to you, and to every woman out there.
Exactly.
Now, I know that we are a couple days after the Mother's Day, but we just decided to don't let this one just go, even though we have so many other things that we want to talk about. Because how many times the women are just overlooked?
Right.
So I am like all in to finding all the minuscule reasons to see myself as I want to see others too, right?
Exactly. Exactly. We want to celebrate that we are here, that we have a voice, that we have the ability to celebrate and enjoy who we are every day.
Yes. Yes. It's funny that you say we have a voice, like right this morning, my voice is so scratchy, but I still have a voice, damn it.
Yes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how strong our voice is. We all have a voice and we all have the ability to use it, even on the days where we're not feeling 100%.
Yes, ma'am, I'm into that. So, over years, I've been fortunate enough to live in different parts of the world and to see how women are celebrated, and also to see how mothers are celebrated.
Yes.
And I think we are all aware of all these discrepancies about who's considered to be a mother and who's not a mother, and all the so much shame and so many labels of what qualifies you to be a mother. So how do you look at this label, mother, Carolyn?
Mm. For me, I look at it in a lot of different ways because um, because I had a mom, my birth mom. I also had a foster mom. I also had a woman who was more of a mom to me than either one of the two of them put together. Um, and in my own relationship, being in a female relationship, uh, Sonia is just as much of a mom in our relationship, and we try to celebrate her as much also on Mother's Day. Um, and then so I see moms as the person who is. we're all nurturing. We're all moms in some way. We all have nurtured somebody, whether it's a godchild, whether it's our own child, or if it's the neighbor's child who doesn't, really have that family connectiveness in their lives. So
Mhm.
a mom can be anyone. There isn't any labels on that.
Oh, so beautiful. Yes. I am inviting people just at least for a second to expand the mom label or whatever you want to call it beyond the biological mom, right? We have
Right.
biological moms, we have stepmoms, we have adopted mom, we have mom by choice, we have
Yes.
um, and a couple years ago or more, I've been really focusing on parenting in my coaching business and with my first podcast. And I was talking about parents, and we could extend that idea here to moms.
Mhm.
Um, you don't have to have biological children in order to take that role and that responsibility and be a role model for any child in your life.
Exactly.
I was giving in my favorite example to give was like imagine being in a grocery store and there is a kid behind you that is looking up to you, and it's very important how we behave, how we show up and what we say, because this little kid, they rapidly could create a story in their mind that could land into some very strong belief that is going to show up later in their life. So as
Exactly.
adults, we have we have the power to, as we have a lot of on our programming, it's exactly what we do for the next generation. So we have the power to be mindful of what we program this new generation into.
Exactly. I think that's a really important statement as well, because as parents, whether we're a mom, we're a dad, we're a family of choice, we have a lot of power over the younger generation. We shape a lot of things, and we can shape them for good and we can shape them for the not so good. So if we keep that in mind, if we redefine how we see ourselves as a parent, I think it changes a lot of the things that we might say or we might do, or how we might react in situations. I know that raising my daughter, I raised her much differently than I did for the 5 years that I was blessed to be my granddaughter's mom.
Hmm.
um so and there's a lot of difference in like how we were raised and what we choose to do as parents, and then as we move out from one child to the next child, and how those roles tend to change just a little bit, and we kind of loosen up or we kind of tighten up where we feel like we needed to be. But I love the idea of redefining who we are based on the children and the generation that we're bringing up.
Yes, yes. And as we celebrate Mother's Day today, I also wanted to extend that a little bit. And I know in the US also celebrate Father's Day, which in Europe is not. And that's, we're gonna get there in a minute, what we celebrate and when. But I want to extend this to step away from the gender and
Yes.
just to look at what that is, because earlier you mentioned this ability of nurturing, and that is something associated with the feminine energy. As every person has feminine and masculine energy, we could step back and look a little bit of like, okay, so what the feminine energy does, that's an energy of nurturing, of healing, right? That's why we find more women in coaching field or healing field than we find men. Also,
Mhm.
we find more clients as female because they have instinctively they want to heal and they want to expand. And then the masculine energy is the energy that want to fix, that want to create steps and a plan. So both are great and both are valuable. The reason I'm talking about this because we see different family structure. So when it's like two dads family, there
Hmm.
is a lot of pressure that is put there, like, oh, those kids are robbed by the chance of being nurtured by a woman.
I don't
And
think
has
they
not,
are.
that's such a limiting thinking, because it has nothing to do with being a man or being a woman. It has to do what kind of energy are you in. Are you expressing a masculine energy to go pay the bills and fix the things, or are you expressing a feminine energy to just hold your child and cry there with them if that's what they needed? And we all have both.
We do. We all have both. And I think when we're redefining like what it is to be a parent, I think we also have to be so inclusive because, we have two dads, we have transgender families, we have, and we as a society cannot place the label on somebody. We don't know who is the nurturing one. We just need to recognize that children get everything that they need, no matter what the family structure looks like. And when we're celebrating a mom label, we should be celebrating the nurturing aspect of it, not that it's a woman, not that we just need to celebrate the moms, because I know plenty of dads out there who take that role as the nurturer, you
Yes.
know. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So good, so good. I've been interviewing in my first podcast, Redefine Family in the Modern Age of LGBTQ. I've been interviewing people from all over the world, but this particular one, a young woman that she grew up with two dads, and I learned so much from her story,
Yes.
and like really understanding that for kids, as you say, they just show up into a family structure and that's their norm.
Right.
They don't see it different than others until somebody teach them that
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
that you're supposed to have a mom and a dad, right?
Yep.
So also we can't ignore there is still a discrepancy between genders, and for me, I was really triggered once upon a time as a single mom. On one hand, I was super admiring single dads, and to be honest, I was admire them more than the single moms,
Hmm.
because in my mind, well, mom is supposed to get the kids after a divorce or whatever. But when the dad gets the full custody, that is like such a big deal.
Right.
And it's coming down to being a parent, right? But when do we learn that? We learned that hundreds of years ago. That is a woman job to take care of the kids, to clean the house, to do the dishes, and so on. So as we keep stepping to that programming, and we keep say yes to that role, and we didn't want to expand it beyond that, we actually reinforce that
We
up
do.
to this day. Is like, even in entrepreneurship, is like, just women are afraid to make money. Women are afraid to ask for more. Why? It's in our system, right?
Right. Right. And I think right now with the political climate and everything else that's going on in the world, I think that women are um, taking another great big look at everything that they do and what we're capable as women to do in our lives, and to step up and say we can't allow this any longer. We need to be recognized in our place. So I don't want to not recognize everything that's going on for women, but I also want to recognize that family is such a there's so many different aspects to family. And when we label that Mother's Day or the Father's Day or any of those things, we have to remember that we're celebrating a person who holds a specific role for that
Yes,
child.
yes.
you know
And the family is has so many different structures. I
it
hated
does.
it from the beginning, like especially when I moved to US, that I've been called a single mom.
Yes.
I hated it, that label, like a single mom with the kid. Like, that's
Yes.
how people will describe my family. They won't say this family. It's a family of one parent, one kid. It's a
Right.
family.
Yep.
You know, and I didn't even know how to set boundaries around that.
I didn't
And
either.
because I didn't know, like, I learned that, oh, it's something wrong with me because I divorced, and now, oh my God, my kid is gonna grow without a father, and all the things that we learned generation and generations ago, right?
Yep,
So
exactly.
moving in here and learning about Mother's Day celebrated in May was a little bit off for me because, as you know, and we did this a couple months ago in here, I celebrate Mother's Day on March 8th, which also coincide with International Women's Day.
Yes.
Most of European countries celebrate Mother's Day on March 8th. So for many, many years, people in my life won't celebrate me living in the US, won't celebrate me for March because, well, you're in the US now, and then won't celebrate in May because, well, you were Romanian, so you celebrate in March. And I kind of submit to that,
Yeah,
and I
why?
kind of allow myself to be left out. I mean, besides my kid, he's really good, like from very little to make me cards on both. And I make peace with myself that that's all that's matter. My kids celebrate me. I'm his mom. But you
Mhm.
know what? Damn it, no. I want more. And
Right.
a couple years ago, I actually decided I'm celebrating both, and I don't need other people to celebrate me. I can celebrate myself. So I'm
Ex-
giving myself 2 Mother's Days a year.
I love that. I love that. But I think there's also something really important in that as well. In the United States, we recognize International Women's Day, but not the same as they do in other countries. In other countries, it's a very big deal. International Women's Day, is celebrated as Mother's Day. It's celebrating women, all women, no matter what their
Yes.
role in life is. And I think that speaks tremendously to the fact that here in the United States, women are celebrated as moms. We're not celebrated as, like, we have um
And
administrative
we have
assistant.
another
Yes,
female, four-leg female says, yes, celebrate me too.
right. She's celebrating her summer cut. She just got trimmed and all of that. But we're not celebrating women for everything that they're capable of here in the United States. We're celebrating them for one thing, or we celebrate them for a specific job that they do.
Yeah.
Um, but we don't celebrate women on the big spectrum of things.
Yes.
So,
It's
and that,
limited.
yes,
It's
it's very
limited because it's
limited,
like, Mom, if you're a mom, we recognize you today. That's
right?
all. That's it's like is that my only role to
Right.
bear children? You know?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's such an interesting concept. And I think it shows something really interesting as well. And I don't want to like dive too far into this, but I just want to recognize it. For so long living in the United States, I always thought that there were so many more freedoms, that things are so different in the United States. And what I'm learning now that I'm more global in my thinking, more global in my understanding, is that in the United States, we do have a lot more freedoms, but women are not celebrated the same as they are in other parts of the world. And so in that respect, women are still very limited,
Yeah.
and we look at how other countries, other areas uh, keep their women down, but the United States keeps women down as well.
Yes. Yes. It's just it's under a mask of all the commercials and consumerism. I don't even
Yes,
know if I say that right. Uh,
consumerism. You said fine. It's beautiful.
so yes, and this is the reason when even here in this space we always start with like celebrating you, and we know Carolyn and I both how hard it is, like in a coaching space, to hold the space for our clients to recognize that they are deserve to be celebrated. Of we are not used with that.
Right.
How could we be if we only celebrate on our birthday and on our Mother's Day? How, like, how could that be if we are not used to be proud of ourselves for our accomplishments, for being a good girlfriend, for being a good sister, for being whatever. We have so many hats. We talked about this before many times in previous
Yes.
episodes, right? So recognizing that that's not in our fabric, we get to change that. So at least in this space with each episode, we always bring a glass of something and celebrate you, and just with the intention of reminding you that doesn't matter what your label is and what's happening in your life, you deserve to be celebrated every day.
Yes.
When you go to bed, and if you in a space where you're grateful for the day,
Mhm.
extend that a little bit, like I'm grateful for this and that, whatever your gratitude is, extend it a little bit, and just say it out loud. I'm proud of myself for.
Yes.
And you don't have to believe it 100%, and it's okay if you still have some lingering of like, oh, I don't want to brag about myself, and all the things that we learn that they're just lies. um, but at least as adults, female adults, to model for children around us that it's okay to be proud of yourself, it's okay to take a stand for yourself. So we want to change that narrative, if you wish, of like, don't brag, don't be so proud. I'm damn proud. I went through life, I overcome some serious challenges. Of course I'm proud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I don't know what to be proud of, like, have one, two, three people around you to call them, hey, what do I need to be proud of today? I can't find it, I have a hard day. Just go and ask.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
want to be celebrated, and I don't feel like it today because I have a hard time or whatever, but god damn it, I'm gonna celebrate myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we want the next generation to come up stronger, we have to show them the way to do that. And by celebrating ourselves, it's just one step. And it's not a small step, it's a very big step, especially in the societies that we are living in right now, to celebrate who we are as women, to celebrate who we are as a part of this society, to celebrate what ability we have in bringing up the next generation of women or nurturers or single moms or single dads or whatever it is that's going to happen in their lives. We need to celebrate that now.
Yes, yes. And as much as I always want to include the man in a conversation and don't be that feminist, because I'm not, I also don't want to ignore the fact that men, they have a head start of 2,000 years or so. I don't know exactly the data, compared with us. Like, we are not even allowed to have properties or to have job or to handle money or to it was a time, I don't know, 100 years ago or so,
100 years ago.
when we are allowed to have properties, but we are not like, I own the land, but I have no right to make decisions about the land. A
Right.
man has to do that. A husband or a dad or a brother, like, women were not allowed to open a bank account. Like, when you look at all these things, it's blown my mind that we're in 2022 and we are once again in a situation when men make decisions about what woman gets to do with her own body.
Yes.
And as I don't want to get into the politics because it's not my favorite things, but I do have to say something about it. And I'm just going to
Absolutely.
say that, like, we need to learn and to do whatever is required. And first thing first is required is healing. And it's in our system. We know how to dive into healing as women, to stand in our power and to get back the birthright that we all have. Like, we are worthy and we are deserving, and
Yes.
I am making decisions, and I get to decide what I want, who I want it with, when I want it, and what to do.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. I could not agree more.
So it's very sad, and to be honest, for me personally, it's a little bit scary what's
Yeah.
happening right now.
It is very
Because it's
scary.
just feel like, if you look back and you just look at like what happened for the past 2,000 years, and now we are here. We finally, some kind of sort of equality, we accomplished that, and we worked 2,000 years towards this,
Yep.
and now we are going backwards. It's just it makes no sense. It's make no sense.
Exactly. It's a difficult space that we're in right now, which is why women need to do what they can and step up for themselves, use their voice, heal their bodies, heal the societal beliefs and the cultural adaptations that have been placed upon us over the years, you know. And that only the way that that can happen is if we start to stand strong.
Yes, yes. So we invite all of you women, mothers, stepmothers, adopted mothers, transgender women, all colors, all ethnicities, to access your voice. You have it. To access your worth, you have it. To access your power, you have it. To access your confidence, you have it. And each and every one of us, depends where we are on our journey, we get to access those as little or as much as we can. And we all are where we are, but the intention is like, let me take a tiny bit of a step further. And further meaning stepping into who I really know to be.
Yes.
And I know it's scary, and I know it's like people are losing jobs because they ask for a raise, or women don't get promotion because they are pregnant, or like so many things that I thought that we deal with that
Right.
50 years ago. And now I have a right to have a job and not be asked at the interview, are you planning on having children? A man is never asked that.
Right.
While we have the law that the mom could get back to work and the dad could take maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
So, all the things.
All the things, all the things, which is why we have to celebrate in the moments that we have, everything that we have accomplished and will continue to accomplish for ourselves on a daily basis. We are important and we are valuable. And to get to that place, it is a matter of healing and stepping in and healing and stepping in even further and healing and stepping in even further so that we can continue to step up and be powerful and strong and celebrated for everything that we can accomplish.
Amen to that. Let's celebrate.
Celebrate
Celebrating all of you.
everyone.
And I think for today, we're going to leave it here. And again, invite you to access your voice, matter. Speak out your thoughts, your feelings, matters.
Yes.
And when we all collectively take a stand for ourselves, that's where we might change something. I mean, that's what happened in the past.
Yep.
It's starting with a woman and with two and with three, and then another 10 years, another 10 years, and 2,000 years later, we are here. So let's don't go backwards, because we are powerful and we are deserving.
Yes.
And
All the things.
I'm taking a stand for moving forward always and always.
Always.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We will love to hear from you. What inspired you? What triggered you? And what interests you?
Do you have questions? Perfect. Get your answers in our Q&A sessions in the Bear Experience Facebook group.
There are many ways for you to join the conversation. You could leave your comments or you could email us.
We can't wait to have you back. Till then, be Bear.
Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving.